My unit, salute! Amped up. 5-6 for the year 2025. This is your review for Monday Night Raw 5-5 2025. Grab your coffees. BC has to do a double fister today because this show was once again lazy, boring, pathetic, unacceptable, nauseating. My veteran subscribers, you know we're going to rip this show apart. If you're new to the channel, welcome. You're going to find out we ain't like anybody else in this community. We are not WWE shills. We're no company shills. Not AEW, not a TNA, not the local bingo hall. When you come to this channel, you're going to get 44 dive. Straight up the middle. Factual, amplified honesty. Always. No bullshitting. No sugarcoating. So while everybody else in the community is probably going to serve you a slobber of shit, like, oh, this was a good show. No, I can do better than that. This was a great show No, we can do better. This was a banger show last night. This was an awesome this was an amazing show. On this channel, we're going to tell you the truth. We're going to be honest about it. Lyra Valkyria looking hot. Paul Heyman having an aneurysm, and Pat McAfee blowing smoke up Michael Cole's ass for 5 minutes in an impromptu title match that has nothing to do with Backlash. It's going to take more than that for BC and the unit to call that even a good show. Forget great. Our bar is up here, bro. We know where this company should be. You're not going to get that bullshit on this channel. We're going to break down segment by segment, match by match, quarter by quarter on this show. And you'll see by the end of this review, was this truly a good show or was it just another lazy, thoughtless, unacceptable, boring pile of garbage? That's why I say grab your coffees or your beverage of choice. Sit back, max relax while BC drops the facts match by match. Because you ain't getting this honesty anywhere else. Everybody else is going to shill for this company. Shill for Hunter Hearst Helmsley. It's sad, but that's their bread and butter for a lot of these individuals. This is the only way they make money. It's sad to say that they have to depend on professional wrestling being good to make a buck, but that's the truth. And if it's not, that's why, on one hand, you can't even blame these individuals. It's just sad that they can't be truthful. But these individuals, these journalists, these podcasters, these content creators, they have to fake excitement. They have to fake enthusiasm because the show is not delivering those emotions, those feelings. So when you get another average show like last night, and on this channel we'll call this another bad, boring, lazy show, had nothing to do with Backlash in totality. But they'll go and not just call it decent. They won't just call it good. You'll hear words like great, awesome, amazing, banger. And I have to look at my notes, and I'm like, because I already forgot everything I saw. That's how bad it is. I'm looking at my notes, and I'm trying to go, what was it? Was it great? Was this an awesome show? Was it a banger show? No. Okay. Paul Heyman was your best promo. Pat McAfee was your second best promo. That tells you something. The talent, the actual wrestlers on the microphone, they can't even do what Pat McAfee is doing. How sad is that? But those were the only semi-memorable parts of this show. You had an impromptu title match that led to just what we thought it would. Sami Zayn coming out. Wow, that's exhilarating. They saved Logan Paul for when the show was done for a social media viral moment. Logan Paul knocks out Jey Uso again. Wow, that's really going to be talked about for the next week. So I'm looking over the show. Nope. Everybody's wrong. BC's the only one who's going to tell you the truth yet again. Nope. This was another subpar, below average, boring, lazy pile of garbage. Nobody else can tell you that because they have to try to fake the enthusiasm and the excitement. They have to shill for the company. They have to shill for Hunter Helmsley. So when Helmsley tells you something like, if you don't like what you're watching, you're not a real fan, you won't see that in any headlines. Nobody will really be talking about that. That's a huge headline, right? You're not a real fan. Could you imagine Tony Khan doing that? Or Vince McMahon? That'd be talked about in several uploads. That would be in all these journalistic pieces. All the dirt sheets would have it, covering the story. Tony Khan said you're not a real fan if you're not enjoying what you're watching. Or Vince McMahon said you're not a real fan if you're critiquing the product in a negative way. And then Hunter tells you to fuck off. And then he says, fuck you. 2 separate interviews / podcast. I wish I could tell those fans to fuck off. And then he says after Mania, when he's got everybody's money, he tells everyone to fuck off if you didn't like the show. He was telling the audience that just watched Mania and went to the comedy show afterwards to fuck off if you didn't like the show. Those are not even in the headlines. Nobody's even talking about it. Or they brush right by it. Then he says storylines don't need to make sense. Nobody's talking about it but BC and the unit. That's a major story. Could you imagine if Tony Khan just said in an interview, storylines don't even have to make sense? They'd be talked about, right? They'd be talked about. All these releases. Oh, it's just business. It's business, everybody. Relax. Hunter knows it's business. Tony Khan loses a Mariah May and a Miro. Tony's fumbling. It's a sloppy shop. Tony doesn't know how to run business. Let's focus on AEW. Let's let WWE off the hook because we gotta try to get every subscriber and every click and every dollar that we can. It's sad, but that's what happened in the community, man. Everybody is thinking, oh, wrestling is so bad right now in the numbers, the ratings and everything. WWE can't even get consistent sellouts anymore. They couldn't even sell out WrestleMania. Legit, not what Stone Cold and Michaels were telling you. Merchandise is still down. Last I checked, 19%. That's coming off of Mania. Ratings are going backwards. SmackDown lost almost 200,000 viewers from the post-Mania SmackDown to last week, a 1499 from the near 16. They already lost over 200,000. Raw's already lost more than half of their audience since their debut just a few months ago on Netflix. So pro wrestling is, and Hunter Helmsley keeps digging even deeper, digging the hole deeper instead of helping. And that's why at a time where we need to be a part of the solution, all of these journalists and podcasters and creators, they're just a part of the problem because they keep blowing smoke up Hunter's ass. They won't cover the real stories when Hunter is saying one stupid thing after another, and they turn a blind eye and they go to another promotion. They go to like AEW, they're fumbling. They're so bad. Tony Khan, man, this is horrible for pro wrestling. Why are you guys talking about Hunter Helmsley? Hello? Over here. He's about to lose Mariah May. Hunter Helmsley just said storylines don't need to make sense. If you don't like what you're watching, you're not a real fan and fuck off. That's not a headline? I got you guys covered, man. BC will never bullshit. I love talking about these type of topics because they need to be talked about. This is the only way we come to a solution. It's clear Helmsley doesn't know how to run the main roster, SmackDown, Raw, in totality, WWE. This is not a 1-hour show on the WWE network called NXT Black and Gold with Dusty and William Regal, the actual brains behind the operation, hoisting him up on that horse. And you get to fly in on the company jet once a week to Orlando and play the role of Papa H and Vince McMahon. You're not playing roles anymore. This isn't role-playing. This is the real deal. Hunter Helmsley is fumbling. We're going into Backlash. The first hour of this Monday Night Raw literally had nothing to do with Backlash. The first hour, a half an hour to set up the impromptu Seth Rollins-Jason Uso match just to bring out Samuel Zayn and Punk. Logan Paul doesn't even come out till after the show for a viral moment. And then the rest of hour one, a couple of random matchups. Hour two, we finally got something to do with Backlash. Lyra and Becky in an in-ring back and forth promo that ended in a pull 'em apart brawl. Exhilarating. And then Pat McAfee and Gunther. They say some words to each other, and Gunther goes, "I'm going to beat you up," and he slams the microphone into the chest of McAfee. And then he's like, "All right, I'm walking away now." And Pat McAfee goes on the headset or on commentary, puts on his little headset, and Michael Cole's like, "Now switching gears to John Cena and Randy Orton," and we see a video package. Because John Cena and Randy Orton, yeah, but that's all you're getting on Raw. John Cena's not showing up on a random Raw. Orton's on SmackDown, so now they're going to play the brand split when it's convenient for them. So that's the only build you had for Raw for Cena and Orton too, by the way. But that was hour 2. Lyra and Becky in a pull them apart, and Pat McAfee and Gunther said some words to one another. But at least we finally got a mention of Backlash. And then the last half an hour of the show, because Hunter can't be bothered to give you a full 3 hours. That's probably for the best. If you're not going to be creative, we don't need 3 hours. That's why SmackDown should go back to 2 hours. Make it 1 hour. Maybe Hunter Helmsley can handle 1 hour of SmackDown and Raw. But Netflix gives them the option to go a full 3. But they have to go at least 2.5. That's in the contract. Hunter's like, nope, 2.5, I'm out. I got nothing else. I don't even have anything after 1 hour. I don't even have the first hour, Hunter's thinking. But that last half an hour, it was just that impromptu title match, ended in a schmaz. Sami Zayn comes out, Braun Breaker's doing some weak-ass spears, and Punk comes out with a chair, and the faces celebrate. We go off the air, and the community goes, what a great show! Oh my God, did you see Paul Heyman turning red? Pat McAfee was fire on the mic. Lyra was hot, and we got a title match. I don't got to worry about making a buck, man. I have to do... My mission statement from the jump is make pro wrestling great again, man. Make it... We have to make this product, this whole industry, in some way, have us get that feeling back that we used to get with pro wrestling. That emotion that only pro wrestling could give us. And now when these shows end, we have to sit there and think about the whole... We have to literally think about it, try to think of the good things, and then go, yeah, good show. Pat McAfee and Paul Heyman good on the mic, and Lyra was looking sexy, and we got a title match. Good show. You know what? Great show, actually. You know what? Awesome show. Let's just keep... You can't top what we just saw last night. I mean, that's what people are saying, right? If it's a great show, not even just good, it's great, it's awesome, it's a banger. If that's the case, you can't get better than last night's show. And that's what's concerning. That is what is alarming. Think about that, guys. Think about that. If what the journalist in what you're reading on these dirt sheets, or maybe it's podcasters you're listening to, maybe it's uploads, content creators on platforms like this, and they're calling this great or awesome or amazing or it's a banger. Think about that. According to them, their standards are so low that, I mean, every show could be called awesome and a banger then. There's no standards. How sad is that? That's got to be the worst critics in the history of critics, right? In the history of critiquing, this would have to be the worst. They probably shouldn't be covering pro wrestling. If you call this show great and awesome, this is probably not for you. Right? I mean, we all can agree on that because you can't go better than awesome or amazing. And you're telling me this did it for you? This was it? What the fuck happened? Penta versus JD McDonald's? Otis versus Miro Rusev? Pat McAfee doing a promo with Gunther? I'm being honest, man. That's what made this awesome? And then you got the fans that are just kind of giving up, man. They know it's bad, but they just want that feeling, man. They want it, right? So they'll submit. They're almost like tapping out, and they're like, yeah, this was a good show, actually. You know, thinking about it, man, this was a good show. They know it wasn't. They know they'd never go back and watch any of it again. Never. They know that in a week they're going to forget everything that happened. Probably this morning they've already forgotten what happened. They know that, right? Those are the fans that are just tapping out because they're exhausted. I promise you guys, man, when I say this is a different channel from everyone else, it's because we tell the truth, man. It's honesty. We're not bullshitting. We can't, and we don't have to, thankfully. I don't have to worry about the subscribers or the clicks or the views. I never had to. I still don't have to. It's the reason I don't beg and plead and ask, guys, please subscribe. I'm the only one in the community, I believe, right? I would have to be, or one of the only ones that just doesn't ask for that. Does it hurt in the long run? Probably. Because people do need to be reminded. I hear you. No thanks. I'm not about just patenting numbers, man. It's about quality over quantity. If people want to, cool. Or remind themselves to, cool. No bullshit. Everyone else can blow smoke up this company's ass and Hunter's ass. Do not think you're coming to this channel and I'm going to do the same, because I have my notes. I watched it in totality. And this ain't it. This ain't it. It's not. And I'm going to go through every segment. That's what we're going to do. And I came to a funny realization this morning when I was getting my notes ready for this upload, this review. And my funny realization is that Jason Uso is our world champion. Jason Uso is your WWE champion. No, I know. I'm getting choked up just thinking about all of the amazing title matches Jey Uso's gonna have. Probably not. Maybe I'm getting carried away, right? Well, I know. BC. He's super over, man. He's super over. BC, the kids and the parents love to yeet, BC. BC, he sells t-shirts, BC. I know. I get it. I didn't ask how or why. Thank you for reminding me all of the reasons why he got the, quote, mega rocket. I didn't ask for any of that. Thank you, though. I said Jason Uso is the WWE World Champion. That's all I said. That's enough. That's enough just to make you sit back and think about that, right? Jey Uso is your world champion for WWE. Explains a lot. My eye is twitching again just thinking about that. I have to get 2 coffees when I talk about this product. Because of situations like Jason Uso is your world champion of World Wrestling Entertainment. And every single week, we have to yeet for 10, 15, 20 fucking minutes. It's great for the live crowd. Awesome. If you're at home every week watching the same thing, like imagine your favorite show, but the first 15 minutes of that show, whether it's a half an hour or an hour-long drama, the first 15 minutes, you have to see the same segment that started the season. So you just see that for 15 minutes every single week. Yeah, that's the equivalent. That's what you're asking us that are over this whole yeet thing. We get it that it sells some t-shirts. We get that people like to yeet. So you stick somebody like that into the mid-card and you sell your t-shirts. You did even less for LA Knight. For those new to the channel, I like Jey Uso. My favorite tag team? The Usos, actually. I like Jey. And because I like Jey Uso, as per usual, I am not going to bullshit. He's a tag team guy. Promos, he works much better with Jimmy Uso. By himself, he can't deliver monologues. Shouldn't be anyway. His wrestling? Anybody who knows how to critique pro wrestling at the bare minimum level. Anybody that just watches, forget being a critic and knowing the ins and outs, the nuances of pro wrestling and watching with a keen eye and a distinctive eye. Forget that. Just watching it as just a regular fan. You know that Jey Uso is better skill-wise as a tag team guy. Singly, his best match that I've ever seen him probably was last night, to be honest with you. That's not saying much. As a singles wrestler, he's just not good. Or hasn't been, unfortunately. And it's weird because he just steals everybody's moves, it seems. Now he's literally doing the chokehold to everybody. Gunther's chokehold. How he was already doing Roman's spear. That's his character. He just steals everybody's move, I guess. And now we have Super Oos somehow, right? Super Oos. He's kicking out of everybody's maneuver, right? He just got stomped a couple of times last night. He's not getting pinned. He's like, get out of here. I'm up. Super Oos. Kicking out of Seth Rollins. You know how many people fucking have looked up at the lights from the stomp? Jey Uso is kicking out like nothing. We saw what he kicked out from WrestleMania with Gunther. Doesn't matter how many Gunther bombs, how long he's in a chokehold. Jey Uso's like, nah. Jey Uso, more amped up than Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Steve Austin, all combined. That makes sense. That's real. He's hitting Roman spears. He's locking in Gunther chokeholds. Where and when did this transformation happen? He hasn't gotten any bigger. Still clearly isn't hitting the gym. He's only gotten older, and his skills are still the same. So how is he all of a sudden Super Uso? But remember what Helmsley said on this new Netflix show called Unreal. He said he was putting the mega rocket on Jey Uso. Well, he got one thing right, man. Or I should say, the show, the title is correct. Unreal is the name of that show. Because watching this Jey Uso do what he's doing, it's unreal. All of a sudden, he's got Undertaker powers. Next week, I wouldn't be shocked if he's shooting lightning out of his yeeting glasses. And Helmsley did say that it doesn't have to make sense. That's what he said about storylines in WWE or in pro wrestling. They don't have to make sense anyway. So we gave Jey Uso superpowers, and don't ask questions, because if you do, you're not a real fan, and fuck off. Well, we've already stopped reviewing this as a fan, don't worry. We're reviewing this as a critic now. Now I can literally watch with an even keener, more distinctive eye, and now I can rip it apart even better. Because I don't have to worry about feelings or certain aspects that I once had to as a fan. Now I can be a critic and call this bullshit out to an even more amplified level if that's even possible. Jason Uso last night, once again with his superpowers. And once again last night, stealing everybody's move. Now he's doing chokeholds with his spear and his 85 super kicks. So my realization while preparing these notes for this morning, Jey Uso is our world champion. I still can't fathom that. And every week we just yeet minutes upon minutes, and then when the music finally stops, the crowd in attendance is like, one more time, because they just want to dance and participate. So Uso goes, ooh, one more time, and the music hits again, and here goes everybody, and McAfee's blowing his hip out, and Michael Cole's blown up, hunched over in his chair from yeeting. And that's our first 15 minutes of every show that Jey Uso is on. Awesome. Awesome, said no PC ever. Yeah, if you can tell, am I over it? I was never on it. I was never for it. As somebody who was always like Jey Uso, man, and if you want to have a singles run, dude, I have at it. This is rough. This is rough, man. I'm watching a mid-card. Man, I love this channel, man. I know that's a little biased because it's my channel, but I love this because we can just be so ruthlessly honest. It's mid-card shit. By the end of the night, Sami Zayn's out there with him. Seth Rollins, man, once everybody stops singing along, I like Seth. He should be main event, yes, and he is, but he doesn't feel it. Still dresses goofy. I don't care about 99% about what Seth Rollins is doing. That's amplified honesty. So him out there at this point could be in the mid-card, and I wouldn't bat an eyelash or second-guess it. Braun Breaker has never made it out of the mid-card. Just because he's schmoozing around with Paul Heyman last night doesn't do jack shit for BC. It's like everybody feels like a mid-carder. That's it. That's one of the biggest issues. We just came to that conclusion right here. I think I already knew that, but saying that, man, it's like a weight is off our shoulders. Every pro wrestler on this fucking roster feels like a mid-carder. Even if they're in the main event or world championships are around their shoulder, like Jason Uso, the tag team guy. That's your amplified opening, teaser, monologue. Over a half an hour probably. And now we can get to the review. Guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to down this one. I'm going to fire up this. I'm going to put this one on a heater, and I'm going to start downing my second Dunkin' coffee. So give me a second. Magic of YouTube. You guys don't got to move at all. I'm going to snap. We're going to get right into this review. I'm just telling you, I'm going to do a switch over. So there's going to be a little bit of an edit right now. I'm going to switch over, get a few I'm going to down some of this second coffee, double shot, extra, extra Dunkin'. And then we're going to get into this review, man. We're going to start off with a whole lot of yeeting. Raw 5/5/2025. Let's do this. 44 die, we rolling. Amplified unit. Put them up. Salute. Ah, that's what I'm talking about. Now, full transparency, you guys probably already know this, right? You could probably come to your own conclusion. I did have 4 coffees before these last 2. So that's probably why we're even a little extra amped up for this review. Even more, as if that was even possible, even more into the no bullshit zone that we are currently in. A lot of coffee, man. My New York Knicks had a big W last night in the playoffs, the semifinals against the Boston Celtics. It went into overtime. We were not supposed to win that game. The Celtics took 63-point attempts. I think they only made 15. If they made 1 more, we only won the game by 3 points. We were not supposed to win that in Boston. They are supposed to be the better team. We went into Boston, and we took the W, guys, in overtime. That was a massive W. So, I mean, once you get that first W, anything could happen in the series. I know Boston's supposed to win. They're the better team, but not so fast, man. That was a huge W. So we were celebrating a lot. The only thing that could bring the mood down is probably Monday Night Raw. But my Knicks, go New York, go New York, go! Went into Boston and slapped around the Celtics. It was pretty big. So yeah, that carried into this morning. We had a lot of coffee. This is going to get out late to you guys because I did spend an extra 45 minutes in the gym as well. Leg day, man. I get in the zone for leg day, put on some extra tunes, and just get lost in the pain. It's pretty fun. So yeah, this is going to get out late to you guys, and we are a little extra amplified. Just full transparency, that's why. Big Knicks W, extra time in the gym, extra coffee, and here we are. Unit, thank you guys, man. Every single one of you guys, my channel members, man. I appreciate you guys so much. I know some new members just jumped on this week. Appreciate you guys big time. Start at the gold status, earn your diamond card, and then get that VIP coffee club. Soon, there's going to be 2-year membership. I got to come up with another one, man. That's going to be the ultimate card. I don't know what it's the 3-year, right? I think that's the 3-year membership that we have to. I mean, what could be better than the coffee club? PC's going to come up with something, man. That's going to be the ultimate. Anyway, channel members, salute. Let me give you a proper salute, and we'll kick off this review. Thank you, guys, man. You keep this whole thing rocking out to an amplified degree, and that does not go unappreciated or unnoticed. Raw 5/5/2025. Jason Uso yeets for 10 minutes. The crowd chants one more time. We yeet some more. How is this fun for anyone not in the arena? I have no clue, but I'm sure there's plenty of people that are going, I'm loving this. This is amazing. I feel the yeeting is getting more fun by the week. I'm sure there's people that'll vouch for that. I'm not one of those, so I'm going to move on. Paul Heyman comes out. Every time he mentions a name, the crowd starts to chant that name. Again, they just want to hijack every promo. They just want to be literally a character in the show, sadly. So they just start chanting CM Punk. Then they start chanting OTC, KFC, anything. They'll just chant anything at that point, man. They'll chant anything other than listening to the promo. So Paul Heyman has to keep stopping. They just won't let Paul Heyman finish his stupid promo. It was actually good. I mean, the dude was turning red. He was laying in. He knew this had to, he had to bring it because he knows, man. He's starting Monday Night Raw, post-Mania. You got a PLE in 5 days from last night, 4 days from today. And he's in there with Jason Uso. He knew he had to oversell. And Paul Heyman was willing to pass out, man, because of it. So it was, it was a good Paul Heyman promo. Most Paul Heyman promos are good. But yeah, the crowd was just waiting on every word just so they can kind of jump in. That's becoming really frustrating. It was actually it was actually, as much as it was a Paul Heyman laid into Jey Uso promo-wise, it had nothing to do with Backlash. It had nothing to do with Logan Paul. It just had to do with setting up a title match for later in the night with Sethington Rollins. And that's a problem because Logan Paul is his opponent Saturday. So this was all to set up Rollins and Uso's title match later in the night, and that's literally how we spent 15, 20 some odd minutes, guys. It was odd. And I mean, on one hand, if like a straight up fan is probably thinking, oh wow, title match, impromptu. But if you really know, like, if you know, this was all going to end in a schmaz and Sami Zayn's getting involved. And that's all that happened. The only twist was Punk came back. I think he was supposed to come back at Backlash or after. But they had him. They probably knew Logan Paul and Jey Uso is so stupid that they're already starting to look past it. So they're like, bring Logan Paul out after the show and we'll just do something for social media. Because nobody cares about it. It's like Hunter has given up on his own stupid shit. But this was just to set up Rollins and Uso. And it didn't end there, right? You go to a bunch of advertisements. I can't believe I'm saying that because it's Netflix. We're already paying for the subscription. There used to be a time where Netflix, you wouldn't see advertisements. Now I'm getting more advertisements from Raw than I ever did on cable. Never thought that was even possible. But when we come back, backstage, Paul Heyman is cutting another 5-minute promo on Braun Breaker. And he asks Breaker, do you have any idea what's even going on? And Breaker responds, yeah, I think so. Like total doofus status. And then Paul Heyman begins to explain everything to Braun Breaker. So is that his character? He's just like the doofus sidekick? And one day he's going to find like Wardlow MJF, where Wardlow was like the doofus for a while, and then Wardlow broke out on his own. Is that the character? He's the doofus, and Paul's got to explain everything to him, and Seth is going to be his leader and architect. This was like so strange. Paul goes, do you even realize what just happened? And Breaker goes, yeah, I think so. And he said it just like that, like a total, like if you're watching a TV show in the doofus character, right? The doofus is like he's saying doofus things, right? He's just the dummy. He's the dumb one in the group. It was funny, but sad. And then we just listened to Paul Heyman talk for another 5 minutes. By the time this was all done, a half an hour was gone in the show. Nothing to do with Backlash. This is a go-home show, mind you. And then we finally went into the first match of the night. Penta versus JD McDonald's. Penta defeats McDonald's via Destroyer pinfall. Chad Gable interferes and accomplishes absolutely nothing. This is what I mean when I say boring. Because it's repetitive, lazy garbage. The house show is getting a wrestling match. Cool. What are we all watching? What would make anybody not watch the Knicks Celtics a captivating game over Penta and McDonald's doing wrestling moves for Chad Gable to come out and do absolutely nothing? He comes out to interfere. Moments later, it's Penta who's winning. Chad Gable looks like an idiot. And it feels like I've seen this 1,000 times because we have. Chad Gable coming out to try to cost Penta. It's the same thing. It's not going anywhere. This leads to nothing. Gable and Penta in the future again, which we've seen, by the way. But how are we getting there? Well, obviously, it's exhilarating storytelling by Helmsley. It's long-term storytelling. What Helmsley's doing is he's having Chad Gable go out there every week and interfere. Yeah, how boring. And it's not even working. So it's boring and making Gable look like an absolute idiot. If you're trying to get to Gable in Penta, if your goal is to get to a rematch with Gable and Penta, tell a real story! Otherwise, why should we fucking care about this? You're not giving us a reason. It's gonna take more than Penta in his dance. And Chad Gable, as much as we all love the dude and we want to see good booking, it's going to take more than this, bro. A match with McDonald's. And then Sheamus defeats Austin Theory via bro kick pinfall. I'm convinced Helmsley planted fans. If you're watching on TV in like lower left, the first few rows, there were fans that were just you would have thought it was Hulk Hogan Rock WrestleMania. I think that was 18 with Toronto, or Hogan and Warrior 6. I think that was also Toronto, same stadium. Oddly enough. But you would have thought it was, they're like, yeah, Sheamus, bro kick. They're flipping out. I'm like, whoa. What am I missing? The match was slow paced. Sheamus was already winded halfway through because he just came back after a couple of months. Relax, man. This is Sheamus and Austin Theory. This isn't Rock Hogan. This isn't Hogan Warrior. It's not Michaels Undertaker WrestleMania 25. Relax. The fuck? But you see, they can have a good, yes, no doubt have a good time. Man, love what you're seeing, but at what point is the overexcitement absolutely, it's not realistic? like nobody would act that way. Clothesline! Oh my God! Yeah, they're bouncing out of their seats. Even Sheamus was caught off. Sheamus had to look like, yeah? Yeah! It was like Sheamus is like, whoa, that was just a clothesline. Helmsley already plants your crowd noise, right? He pipes in the boos, he pipes in cheers, he does it all the time. Last week was horribly noticeable. Don't put it past. Planting fans is something they've done since the beginning of time. They have always planted fans. WWE more than anybody. And you always have them. I don't think people realize that. You always have planted fans for a variety of reasons. It could be to help get sections to start cheering a certain way. That's the most common. But also, just as common is planted fans to get the reactions. They call them like focus groups. Helmsley was just talking about why they are pushing Jey Uso, because the focus group says that the attendance on hand likes to yeet. Well, obviously. Pay attention to the audience at home, too. When you're losing viewership, that's probably what you want to pay attention to more than anything. But the focus group, a lot of those are just not people in suits and ties walking around. They're planted fans. And they're taking inventory. So there's always been planted fans. So it's just, I saw several instances last night where it was way over the top, the reactions. Like nobody else not only was reacting that way, but nobody would act that way. Very, very odd. Again, you spend money. Have a great time, man. Cheer for clotheslines if you want. Okay, have at it. But I'm talking bouncing out of their seats going nuts. I had to check what I was watching. I'm like, I know my eyes been twitching watching this shit, but it says just Austin Theory and Sheamus, right? And Sheamus is already blown up, right? Like, this is a slow, average match, right? Right? Who knows? Could be fucking family, friends, loved ones of Sheamus. They're just really backing him, man. Possibly. Guys, that was hour number one. I wish I was missing something, but that was hour one. Nothing to do with Backlash at all. I told you, I don't bullshit you guys, man. I literally will tell you something and we'll go over it just so you guys see how real my words are. I don't give you word salad like Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Say a bunch of words for a long time and none of it makes sense and none of it's all meaningless. No, when I say something, I go over it so you guys see exactly what I'm talking about. Hour one, a couple of random matchups and a lot of Paul Heyman talking to get us to a championship match main event that was just going to end in a Sami Zayn schmaz. We go into hour two, finally the first mention of Backlash. Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria in a back and forth promo, ending in a pull 'em apart brawl. That's right, exhilarating. Lyra out there looking so beautiful, man. I've always said this. I guess that could be a part of the reason why she got an instant push over to the main roster. Not solely. She's talented. I've always said that. She's got the skills. There's the brightest of futures. But being incredibly beautiful probably helped. You know, like you can promote her in many ways, man. Lyra is just sexy too. Beautiful, sex. Lyra is. And Becky Lynch, I don't even mind this, to be honest with you. I don't mind them going back and forth, but it's lazy. It's lazy. They just, once the promo is done, what's the creative behind it? They have nothing, guys. Put them in the ring, have them say some words, and then have them just start brawling. We'll send some referees out, and we'll pull them apart. And that's all we got. Referees were pulling them apart, and then Becky tried to get back in the ring. I think she took a, what did she call it? Nightwing? She took a Nightwing, I believe it's called, and Becky's looking up at the lights, and that pretty much tells you Becky's taking that title Saturday, I believe. So I just, on one hand, you want to say, BC, what can you possibly do, though, storyline-wise? You tell a story. It started off weird, I know, right? She comes back at Mania, wins tag titles. 24 hours later, she's turning on her. And then we get a fast-tracked, hot-spotted title match for 2 weeks at that time. Or so it would be 2. All of this happened in less than a month. She comes back, she wins tag titles with her, she turns on her, a match is made for the title, and this Saturday the match happens. I get it. It's weird. But you gotta try, man. You try. That's what I mean. You use the backstage, you use the parking lot, use a boiler room, use the roof, use a good pre-tape segment. Maybe Becky's at the local bar, and Lyra, Lyra's like, nah, you ain't getting away with Lyra's. Think, man. It's a television show. Do something that we're going to remember, man. So the next day, we're like, damn, did you see Lyra and Becky's segment? That was wild. Instead, we're just like, Lyra's sexy. Because what else are we going to talk about? A pull 'em apart brawl? She knocked out Becky? At some point, you have to get creative and really start giving us segments that we're going to remember, man. I don't care if it's the Big Show riding on his father's casket as the big boss man is driving away. That was a real thing. I don't care if it's Charlie Flair, Ronda Rousey, and Becky crashing into each other with cop cars. You remember that? I don't care if it's Jake the Snake Roberts and The Undertaker locking Warrior in a casket, or Warrior locked into the room of snakes. We have to eventually get to segments, man. I can't tell you how many bar rooms that the, AOP were in? Or Steve Austin getting thrown off a bridge? Steve Austin and Booker T fighting in a supermarket. Vince McMahon's Corvette getting filled with concrete, or his limos exploding, monster trucks going over The Rock's new truck. I mean, there's so much. Angle's milk truck bath, Steve Austin's beer bath. There's so many memorable moments because they're memorable. They were next level. It helped make the shows actually great, awesome, memorable, amazing. You'd have to watch it time and time again. These shows lack those type of things. It's a television show. You can't just have everything in that ring because the crowd is just, it's ADD, ADHD, whatever you want to call it, and they just always have to participate. They always have to be a character in the show. It's okay to put shit up on the Tron. And they can sit, they can go get a beer, they can go get a refreshment, go take a piss if they don't want to watch the segment that's up on the Tron. Go outside of the arena, pick up a bad habit, throw yourself in traffic, do something. But it's a television show. You're not just booking house shows. Especially if you're going to fast track weird programs like Becky and Lyra in the weird month that they just had. Yeah. Sorry, not sorry if a lot of us, we deserve and demand better than this. This is subpar. If you're okay with it, that's cool, but you're okay with subpar. You're okay with just average storytelling and average creative. And that's being generous. Calling Hunter Helmsley's creative average, he'll take that and run like he just robbed the bank. Don't look back. My creative was called average. This is amazing. But that's the best I'll give you for Becky and Lyra last night. Let's stick with the ladies. Two ladies I adore, man. Two of my favorites in this industry. Iyo Sky and Roxanne Perez. Iyo pins Roxy via fruity roll-up. This was a ridiculous finish for these two individuals, man. Ridiculous. They just tried to roll one another up 86 times for the last minute of the match. They just did that thing where you roll around the ring trying to roll each other up, and finally Roxy was like, "Ah, no!" Like a turtle flipped on their back, and they just on their shell, and they just can't get up. The kid from Christmas Story, "I can't get up, I can't get up," and Iyo is even shocked that she got her. She's like, "Oh, I got her on my 26th attempt." Roxy takes another loss. Belair beats Roxy at the Chamber. Tiffany beats Roxy on SmackDown a couple weeks ago. Rhea Ripley beats Roxy on Raw a week or two ago, whatever it was, a few weeks ago. And now Roxy is losing to Iyo. So Belair, Tiffany, Ripley, Iyo. That's the storytelling for Roxy for now anyway. The plan for Roxy is let's have her lose to everybody, and then we'll push her. We'll dig you such a hole so everybody just knows you lost to everybody. And then we'll start to go, ooh, it's a new Roxy. Now she's going to beat people. Now we're going to give her a winning streak. This is so weird. Did it work for Mello when you did that? No. And everybody else that this has been tried? Bronson Reed? It was so bad that when they started to give Bronson a couple of W's and found out it wasn't working, they had to turn him into Wreck-It Ralph. Thank Braun Strowman for that, too. He helped put Bronson over, and he helped put Fatu over. And when he was done doing everything Hunter asked him to do, he was kicked to the curb, directly from Helmsley. But they had to turn Bronson Reed into a Wreck-It Ralph just to try to get a reception, a response, because they dug Bronson's hole so deep. He lost so much. They put him in weird matches as a heel against another heel, Gunther. Split the audience, and Bronson Reed looked like an idiot. Mello comes to the roster, loses to everybody, and Mello is an afterthought. Irrelevant. You can go down the list with so many of these individuals, the same type of booking. You think this is good for... Let's bring up Roxy. Let's have her lose to everybody. I'm not saying she has to be Super Roxy, come up and beat everybody. But can you book her better? Make her look better? If your whole thing is we're going to slowly introduce her to the WWE main roster audience, show everybody that she's not here to take W's, she's a good wrestler, we'll put her in good wrestling matches, but towards the end, she just can't squeak it out. Time after time after time, match after match after match. Anybody over the age of 12 or any semblance of logic and common sense is not going to forget that at any moment, Roxy can lose 26 matches in a row. I say that about my sports teams. If any season version of the Yankees, for instance, if we lose 12 games in a row, 8 games, 6 games in a row. No matter how good we start doing that season, I will have right there in my dome piece that at any moment we can turn into that team because that's who we are. We can lose 6 in a row. I don't want to think of somebody that good as Roxy just loses to everybody. And then we're supposed to think that she's supposed to be on the main roster. She just can't beat anybody on the main roster. It's fucking frustrating, man. But this is what Helmsley does for so many of these individuals coming up from NXT. He either fires you from NXT or he books you like an absolute afterthought clown. Roxy's better than that. I'm okay with Iyo winning. If you have to have this match, I would not have had it right now. Iyo versus Roxy in the future could be a money match. You put out a PLE with a great storyline attached to it. But that's too much thinking and logic for Hunter Helmsley. He doesn't use any of that. Julia attacks Iyo post-match, and Roxy faked mutual respect, shook Io's hand, but then Julia attacks, and then Roxy and Julia beat up Iyo. And I guess that's supposed to make Roxy look more vicious, and people care about Julia. Much love to Julia, but I mean, what a sorry, pathetic, lazy way to bring Julia into the main roster. And I don't even think she's going to be there full time. I think they still are going to have her do a lot of work in NXT. But I mean, this is her. There's no emotion to this. Julia's just coming out, and a lot of the audience is still like, oh, the girl with the blue hair is attacking. That's the difference, man. Everything we are getting is so fucking average and below. And I'm up here. I'm like, come on, man. You got all these wrestlers. You got this time on Netflix. Let's be creative and have fun. We'll have Roxy go out there, lose to a fruit roll-up, and then have Julia come out, and Roxy and Julia will beat up Iyo. That's it. What's it have to do with Backlash? Nothing. But nothing has to do with Backlash. Like the next matchup. Rusev defeats Otis via tap-out submission. Post-match, Rusev destroys Otis and Tozawa. Otis and Tozawa are literally jobbers now. Let's just be honest. That's sad. I saw a lot for Otis, man. It's so sad what happened to Otis. Tozawa, I don't even know what Tozawa is doing. But Otis, that's sad to say. But that's it. Rusev destroys Otis and Tozawa because Backlash! It's a go-home show to Backlash! What do you mean it doesn't feel that way? You just got Rusev defeating Otis. And Roxy is getting rolled up. Because Roxy has that big match at Backlash. Oh, no, she doesn't. And because Rusev has... No. Otis. JD McDonald's. Eyes twitching, man. Twitching. With this product. Pat McAfee and Gunther in-ring promo. McAfee goes on and on about how great Michael Cole is. Keeps calling him great. The greatest. Then he spends 5 minutes talking about how great the town is and like him going through the town younger. And I don't even know what he was talking about. Finally, when he turned his attention to Gunther, it was a good promo. You do this as a job. I do this because I love it. Kind of like BC in the community, right? Everybody does this as a job solely. So they have to shill for WWE. They have to shill for Hunter Helmsley. They can't talk about anything negative with Helmsley, because that will ruin the goodwill they have with the WWE shills, with the company. Maybe they won't get employment in the future if that's what they're trying to obtain. So they can't even cover Helmsley stories negatively. They can't even mention his name a lot of these, and they won't even mention Hunter Helmsley. It's their job. But Pat McAfee can be more freer because this is his passion. This is what he loves. Right? It's like BC in this community, man. So, it was a pretty good promo, actually. Once he got past the Michael Cole thing, that stuff, yeah, that's what I mean. You look at this show in totality. The only good you could possibly pull from it, not decent, not okay, good. Paul Heyman turning red in his promo, and Pat McAfee once he got done with the Michael Cole shit. That's it. Everything else was average at best. We're going over it. This isn't to fit a narrative. I'm literally going over everything that happened, detail by detail. This isn't about liking something or not. That's your prerogative, right? We all like something and we all don't like something, and others don't have to agree with that. That's likes and dislikes. I'm talking about what is good and what is bad. That is based on facts. That's not based on preference. Good and bad is based on facts. We misconstrue that, right? When we like something, we automatically call it good because we liked it. If we don't like something, it was bad. That's not what I mean when I say a show is bad, lazy, boring, or a show is great even. What I mean when I say good and bad is I'm basing everything on what we actually witnessed, detail by detail, fact by fact. That's what makes this review the most honest, the best in this community. Because we're the most factual. When I say it's a no bullshit zone, it's literally the no bullshit zone. That's all you could talk about. Paul Heyman and Pat McAfee's promos, I guess. And this just ended just below average, man. Gunther says, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to rip your arm. Something like that. I don't even know what he said. And then he pushes the microphone into the chest of Pat McAfee, and he walks off. You understand? Okay, bye. I'll see you Saturday. He walks off because the thing was Adam Pearce was out there. They can't get physical. Okay. Listen, at least it had something to do with Backlash. At that point, I was like, can we just mention Backlash? Because Lyra and Becky was the only thing to do with Backlash this entire show, and we were about to go into the third hour. That's real talk. Rollins defeats Uso via DQ. Again, this might go down as a no contest. They tried to pull this shit on SmackDown, which it just was not. I don't even know what that was because it's not memorable, SmackDown, either. I think it had something to do with Damian Priest, right? Something happened. They called it a no contest, but it was a clear DQ. Same thing here. Because Sami Zayn comes out. Braun Breaker's out there as well, obviously, but they didn't really interfere to the point where the referee called the bell. It wasn't until CM Punk came down with a steel chair, started laying into Sethington Rollins, and that's when the match was finally thrown out. So technically, that would be a DQ no matter what they're trying to say, because Rollins was the one getting hit. Rollins wins by DQ. So it's exactly what we thought. We waited 2.5 hours to watch schmaz. The only thing you can hope for is a good match, but we've seen Rollins and Uso before. Tag teams, 6-man tags, 1-on-1. You name it, we've seen it. So, okay, it's May 2025, we'll run it back. But Rollins isn't getting a title. This was just to get Sami Zayn out there. The little twist was Punk also came out there. Okay. And then the faces celebrated. Lee Fitting and Paul Levesque McMahon, Hunter Hearst Helmsley's credits popped up, so you know who's serving up the bullshit, the garbage. And we faded to black and went off the air. And after the show went off the air, something to do with Backlash occurred, because that whole main event had nothing to do with Backlash. After the show went off the air, Logan Paul knocks out Jey Uso and runs away. They're going to try to create a viral moment. Oh my God, did you hear what happened? After Raw, Logan Paul came out. He just stayed in the audience, actually. Like, Jey Uso was like high-fiving, and then he got knocked out. Like, Logan Paul was like a fan, and he just knocks him out, and then he runs away. And CM Punk and Sami Zayn are like, oh, you dastardly douche. That's what happened, man. The whole main event had nothing to do with Backlash. It's the go-home show. It's a show that makes your eye twitch. It's a show that will give you a headache. It's a show that will just make you ask yourself a billion plus times, what are we watching? And when you try to say, just make it make sense. Like, make this make sense. Now you have Hunter Helmsley saying the storylines don't have to make sense. I put it in the upload yesterday, and I gave you his exact quote, by the way. I showed you the quote. Just to show you how real that was. Those are the words from Hunter Helmsley. The storylines don't have to make sense. All right, that's it, unit. Go about your days. Whoop that ass, man. Stay amplified throughout. A lot of good amped up shows planned for the week. So we are just kicking it off. So smash that up. Don't forget, helps out the algorithm, supports the channel, but it lets BC know that you are fully amplified. I appreciate you guys big time, man. Again, I'll say it again. Channel members, utmost respect and appreciation. Thank you. Until next time, there will be that next time. 44 dive. That's a wrap. BC in the unit. We're saying check you. Salute.